I did my first paid design in 1998 and it was a whopping $15. Then I kept on designing, made a lot of projects for both the leading brands in the world and a lot of startups, made a lot of money and a lot of mistakes. Now, if I could go back in time, like 15 or 20 years and just meet with the old me, this is what I would have said to him. Some of these things are quite weird or unique and definitely not an industry standard, but they have led to some spectacular results. By the time we're done here, you will know why your salary is like the least important part of your contract and why I charge triple for every hour of a Zoom call with a client. Number 1, read the contracts and negotiate. Early on, you won't be able to negotiate a higher salary unless you're like really good. Now, the most important thing that you can negotiate at this level is what and in what way you can put into your portfolio after the project is done. You can use your lower salary as a leverage to be able to show a little bit more. Now, most default contracts, the ones that you just get and most people kind of sign without thinking, have an NDA that doesn't allow you to share anything. The first thing to do is always ask them to change that. Tell them that you are planning to do this project so well that you will be so proud of it that you will just want to share it. And you'll realize that probably 9 out of 10 companies will actually give you that opportunity. And if you say nothing, you just get nothing. Okay, this is a big one. Never say, "Tell me what you want changed or improved" when sending a design to a client. This is a sign of weakness. This is like saying, "Here is my design, it kinda sucks, so tell me how to fix it." Remember that you're the designer and they are hiring you for your skills. So don't do role reversal and be completely confident in what you're sending. Obviously, it has to be good. I usually spend twice as much time preparing the first designs for a client as I do on the actual designs, because this is an important step where you need to gain their trust that will be really beneficial down the road. I annotate like crazy. I use some of my own methods, but I also use a lot of the standard methods of annotation. What you really want to do is to be sure that every part of that process is completely clear to people who are not designers. So no jargon, no smart words. You don't really need that. Your design decisions have to be right there. Plain sight, plain English, the simplest possible words that you can use. You can even use Hemingway editor to make it even simpler for them. It has to be so basic, even a kid will understand it. And you're not asking for feedback. You're sending your completely annotated and explained and argumented design decisions to the client. And obviously they're gonna send some feedback that is business related. But you're not expecting design-related feedback because your role as a designer is to do it right. So instead of asking for feedback, just say, "I'm sending in my design with all my design decisions explained." Number 3, take advance payments. We've been burned by both startups and even some huge Fortune 500 corporations. You could think that if you signed a contract that they are obliged to pay you. Well, sorry to bust the bubble, but no, and in most cases the contract value is not big enough to justify actually suing them. The legal costs, the time and the energy you need to put in to get that money with a court is completely not worth it, and they know it. Always ask for half of the money before you start or it's a no-go. And if the customer gets very angry at this request, then you could be pretty sure they wouldn't have paid you at all. Number 4, don't sign long-term contracts right away. And I understand that as a freelancer or as a small agency, it might be tempting to get a client for half a year or a year of work because, it's gonna be less worries and a stable income. This is a trap. Always do a 1 or 2 week initial design exercise with the client first, so you can do like a small part of the project. And that short project, of course, comes with a 50% advance payment. And the reason for that smaller project before you commit for a longer term engagement is twofold. First thing is you want to check if they pay on time, both the advance and then the second half after the initial project is done. The most important part is that it allows you to check whether that client is an asshole. We had clients threaten us, shout at us, be toxic, abusive, and angry to the point of almost being comical, but it wasn't really funny if you're on the other end of the joke. So when you notice these signs of a toxic or abusive behavior, just quit the client. In the end, working longer in this industry, your sanity and your self-worth, which really can be depreciated by those nasty people, is way more important than 1 or 2 longer-term contracts. Number 5. Delivering design should never be the final part of the job. Many designers think that, okay, I've done this landing page or this app and sending it to the client and we're done, pay me and bye-bye. What we always do at Square Black is we specify the remaining steps, because after the design there is a couple steps. One of the steps is installing visual analytics and then looking at the site or the app and modifying it slightly and tweaking to make it convert better, make it work better. Every new design or redesign has some issues that you can't predict, and only seeing how users are interacting with it is the only way for you to make it better. But the other thing is the handoff to the developers also has something called quality assurance, or QA. And QA is essential because most designers don't do it. They just send the Figma file or some Zeppelin file to the developers and they consider their job done.
Money please!
But the problem with the developers is that they are not designers, they often don't see some things, and it's a very, very high chance that your design will be butchered in execution. You need to make sure the developers are doing the best possible job, and you can only do it by basically checking on them every step of the way and providing them feedback on what is completely misaligned, or the fonts are missing, or the icons are stretched. Make sure everything is working exactly as intended. Basically just kind of be the first user and be very critical. So definitely add those parts to the contract, because design doesn't end with the design file. And a lot of the industry has this obsession with Zoom calls, basically doing meetings for every little thing. We had a meeting with a corporation, actually 4 meetings, 1.5 hours each with 12 people, just figuring out whether we should use gradients or solid colors in an icon. And this is just so much useless and wasted time that doesn't really contribute to the product in any way, that since then I started charging triple for all the Zoom calls except for the first one, because obviously if you're signing a new client, you do that very first call because you need to get to know each other and, you know, to start the relationship. There are some rare occasions where you need some clarification, just do them on 10 minutes time limit calls and that's it. But no calls weekly or every other day to check on project progress, because a bullet list in an email will work way better, and actually you have a history of that bullet list happening. And most meetings are simply a waste of time, especially in a corporate environment, because a lot of the people working there need to show that they're doing something.
Hicks, how come you're not working? I go, there's nothing to do. And you go, well, you pretend like you're working, son.
Going to a meeting room and kind of sneezing through a meeting or two is one of the best ways to not do much and still get the hours in. Freelancing or running your own agency can be hard, but the hardest part is actually everything around the design. These things can make or break you, and obviously you need top-notch design as your starting point, but I'm assuming you already have that. So, more of this?